Andy, what are you up to, man?
Just putting the finishing touches on the Cupra.
Oh, okay. And you're rating Volkswagen's spare parts bin again. You always do this, man.
Well, you know what they say. One man's trash is another man's chance to spin off the
SEAT's performance division into a standalone brand within the Volkswagen brand. I know the saying, Andy. Okay, you get it. The Cupra Formentor is made from bits and bobs pulled out of other Volkswagen Group products. But why? There's already Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, and a bunch of others sharing parts. So what's another crossover with another Golf engine doing in the mix? Well, first of all, it's not just a Golf motor, stupid voiceover guy. It's the top spec Golf R motor with 333 horsepower, and this thing rips!
Like a Beyblade.
Like a what? In fact, Cupra reckons this thing will do 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds, which
Well done, Cupra.
makes it faster than all of its direct rivals, including cars like the Volkswagen T-Roc R, the Mercedes GLA 35, the BMW X2 M35, but rather than saying a whole bunch of names and numbers like a bloody kid's song,
AMG 43.
do you know your X35s? I reckon we put this thing to the test and time it. Okay.
5.17, but we
5.1.
were going uphill.
Slightly uphill, and there's two of us in the car.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's faster than 4.8 then, if you had a flat road.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was pretty rapid.
And it sounded amazing.
What I will say is that it feels like a fast Golf. I'll say more about that later. But it definitely doesn't look like a Golf.
No.
We're Kiwi GT, the car show all the way from New Zealand. Yep, we have cars here. That's Rory, he's the car nerd. Well, I'm Rory, like I'm the voice of Rory.
Wait, who's there?
Anyway, and that's Andy, he's the car novice. He brings the non-enthusiast approach to cars and his clothes.
What's wrong with my clothes, man?
Just look at this thing, man.
Yeah.
It looks so cool.
It does. The matte bronze finish looking
The matte
really
paint
good.
looks awesome. It's one of those cars that when I first saw one of them on the road, I was just following it like that. I mean, the car was actually over there,
Yeah.
but I've yet to find someone that doesn't think this thing looks cool, at least from the rear 3/4 angle. And I've spoken to like all 7 people that live in New Zealand, and they all agree. So
And Derek as well?
I spoke to Derek. Yeah, he
Okay.
likes it.
Yeah.
So a few details that stick out. One literally sticks out is this line here, quite an aggressive line, swooping up as the rear of the car slopes down, which kind of squeezes it together and gives it quite a sporty, dynamic.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If I stand back and squint a little bit, it reminds me of my mum's
So the
car.
whole side profile.
Yeah.
I guess I see that a little bit. Respectfully disagree in general. Actually,
How dare you?
disrespectfully.
How dare you?
I think that's a stupid idea, Andy. The money shot has got to be this back end.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think this light bar just looks so good.
Yeah, it's incorporating a bit of a modern look that a lot of EVs have, but it's it's a
better.
little bit of it. Well, yeah, better.
Yeah.
And actually the integration of the Cupra logo, which I love, it makes it look so much better.
If I was to nitpick about the styling, because I mean, obviously you can tell I'm a fan of the way this thing looks. I'm less hot on the front end, just because it has a kind of almost like a baby shark kind of look to it.
Baby shark,
It's
yes,
a little bit too cute.
I get that, yeah. And you
Yeah.
know what? It's funny. It's kind of like it's got an underbite, kind of like a red belly piranha, if I was to call
Okay,
that
if you're
out.
getting specific about sea fish. What is it? Sea fish is the right word, right? Yeah.
Actually, it's a river fish, embarrassingly for you.
Oh. The inside is much like the outside in that there are all sorts of interesting shapes and details and colors. But one thing that really sticks out is the liberal use of copper accents and copper stitching and copper bits and pieces everywhere. At first I thought it might be a little over the top and kind of
Little
garish.
garish, yeah.
But they've balanced it just right. Like I really like it.
I agree. I think it looks really good.
This has like an interesting kind of almost carbon fiber kind of weave detail in the middle.
It does absolutely look like woven cloth. Or
Yeah,
woven
it looks cool though.
It does look good.
It's certainly a hell of a lot better than scratchy plastic.
far more visually interesting than you would see on other things. Unfortunately, though, there is scratchy plastic. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not gonna get away from it. Actually, actually, a good example of the scratchy plastic thing is these lower door cards. The panel at the bottom is normally very guilty of being like the scratchiest of scratchy plastic.
It is scratchy, but
It's
it's not in
scratchy.
a different way.
Yeah, they've got this sort of speaker grill kind of design over it. But that's
Oh, it
I
is
like
carried
that.
on. Speaking of, how do the speakers perform?
So the Sennheiser system in this is actually really good. It's up there with the Bang & Olufsen's from the more premium brands.
Yeah.
The only thing is, and I don't know if that's this particular press vehicle or what, but if you turn up the bass, it rattles the door card on the left-hand side.
Is it like, is everything pretty tight in
It
here?
is. Yeah, everything's well made, and like it's, you know, it's not creaky, and if you press everything, it's built really well. Cupra do brand themselves as being the rebellious brand.
Oh, okay.
So maybe they built in a little bit of that speaker rattle, you know, just to rebel against the quiet comfort of the other brands.
The light bar that wraps around onto the doors, it goes right across.
Yes.
I think it looks really, really
Like
good.
a panoramic light bar.
Exactly.
And the blind spot monitoring light actually appears
there's-
there too.
exactly.
It's like the Q6 that we drove is similar, which is, you know, several classes above this, but
Yeah.
you're getting that feature in this, you know, far more affordable car. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Unfortunately, not enough copper in the light bar, but that's
I
understandable.
want everything to be made of pure copper, you know? Like, I want to be able to wire some bloody cell phones together out of this. Now, how about the practicality? Because ultimately, this is kind of like a Golf that's been raised up a little bit bigger. So I put it to the ultimate test. Kid seat in the back, rear facing, and then stroller in the boot.
Okay.
And it was pretty tight.
It was tight.
It's usable. I think of it as like a good amount of space, but
Yeah.
not a large amount of space. That all said, my favorite part about the design is that it's distinct. You know, it's very clearly a Cupra, and it's the first place where I think it makes a lot of sense that they're using the spare parts from the Volkswagen sort of under the skin, but on the outside, it gives them opportunity to really craft a completely new look and feel that wouldn't work with their other brands like Audi and Skoda and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So in that sense, I think it looks really good. Why? What do you think?
Yes, it definitely departs from more of a maybe luxury look, then goes more of a sporty, aggressive look.
Yes. Right, so the inside and the outside both have a distinct identity, which is great to see. But with all the shared parts, does it drive in a distinct way? Because it really is just a Golf R under the hood, right?
Ooh.
But let's be clear, the Golf R kind of sets the standard for fun and fast hot hatches. So to have that DNA under the hood is not a complaint. It's actually a boon. Do people still say boon?
People say spoon when they're talking
I've
about
heard people
utensils.
say spoon
Yeah.
before, actually. It's proper zippy.
Yeah.
Like, you just put your foot down and it just kind of takes off. It pushes you back in the seat pleasantly, but it's not like a violent, like, you know, throwing you back kind of sensation.
That takes me to, like, the point is, like, with the RSQ8, that was almost like violent, like shoving you into the seat.
That was
but it
neck
has-
snapping, yeah. And the dual clutch transmission feels really good. Upshifts are rapid.
Yep.
Downshifts sound really good, feel really good. If you put the transmission into Cupra mode, it'll hold the gears for ages. Like, ideal for a track use. It keeps it in the power band way up high. Not good for pottering around town, you know, going to the bloody grocery store and you're like, but it's at the low speeds, like every dual clutch transmission, it's a little kind of slippy and it's kind of a bit uncomfortable sometimes. But for the most part, calibrated really well.
Okay.
So the straight line speed is good, right? But around the corners is where this thing becomes lots of fun for me.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, unlike the other cars we've driven recently, like the RSQ8 and the Q6, so those are big, heavy SUVs. Being in a subcompact like this feels like a proper go-kart.
Yeah. Does it feel balanced?
There's a little bit of roll around the corners, I'm not going to lie. But what are you going to do about that? I mean, you're in something that's raised up. We're not in a hatchback, and I have to keep reminding myself. Because in my head, I'm like, Golf R, Golf R. I'm like, no, this is like a Golf R on stilts. And clearly, they've tried to make this thing, you know, fun around the corners. I mean, why else would they have like a drift mode, for example? It's clearly geared towards people that want to have fun, you know, in a straight line and around corners. And it is. It's a ton of fun, this car.
You're definitely getting the feeling from the road. You're definitely like, holy crap, I'm shifting around and in control.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's definitely more visceral.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was the 10 that I was going to use, and then you said it.
I stole it from you, you idiot! The trade-off for, you know, everything we've just talked about with it feeling visceral and the connection and the sound is that there is a fair amount of road and wind noise as well. That is to be expected of this class of vehicle.
Yeah.
But, maybe worth pointing out if, this is certainly not a quiet luxury car.
This is a party car. This isn't a like long distance, take your family on a holiday adventure car.
Yes, although you could, because if you put it in comfort mode, everything does get quiet, aside from the road noise and the wind noise, which you'll hear some of that. And I will say as well that it's just like fun to be in something that makes a racket again. Like, it reminds me of my teenage years back when we used to drive the Japanese sports cars of the 90s, and they were like loud and light, and it's kind of nostalgic in a way for me.
It feels that way for you?
It's sort of, yes. I mean, obviously levels of magnitude more refined than those cars, but it reminds me of those feelings and of those times, which is maybe one reason why I enjoy this car so much.
Awesome. My only car from back then was a 1994 Toyota Corolla, and it was grim. It rattled a lot.
This has got a rattle, so I thought you'd like this too, man. So although there's nothing distinct about experiencing yet another Golf powertrain, having it in R-Spec does place it faster and more fun than its immediate rivals. So how does this all add up in the end? Well, I think this is genuinely best in class for the subcompact performance SUV.
Subcompact? Is that the technical name?
Yeah, mate.
Okay, cool.
It's faster and fresher than its direct rivals, while being, thousands cheaper than some of its German counterparts that it can really keep honest on a back road.
Okay.
And so I think, they picked the right parts out of the parts bin, wrapped it in a knockout design, and that's done it for me.
Wow, sharp as, man. Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's not so lustrous, which is a great angle. I thought that it was really throaty on the drive, which was honestly like it added so much to the feeling.
It always comes back to price, and this is priced at $87.5, starting at, not to mention the added paint which costs extra and the wheels and so on and so forth. It starts getting really expensive, basically, and then you have to ask yourself, okay, now, all the good things we talked about, the design and the exhilarating drive and all that stuff, is that worth the money? What else could you get with that money? And what it comes down to for me is that I think the performance and stuff is great, and I'm a car enthusiast, of course I like performance, but for me, I seem to gravitate more to the design than anything else. And so I'd quite happily go for the model below this with, say, 200 horsepower that looks almost identical and costs, 15 grand cheaper or something along those lines.
Wow, that is a hell of a saving.
One other question mark I had was around the size. I mean, for some people, this is a large vehicle. For others, it's considered small. For me, with a family, I think it's on the small side.
Yeah.
But then we are going to be testing quite shortly the Cupra Terramar, which is a bigger version that looks quite similar to this.
Okay.
A little bit less power, more usable space, so I'm very keen to check that out.
Less power in a bigger package.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting one.
I know.